Hi there, I'm just going to do a very quick video with some initial thoughts on the tweet that Zaram Sultana sent this evening saying that she had left the Labour Party and that she was going to form a new party with Jeremy Corbyn, a new party of the left. It's not at all clear whether Corbyn was in on this. There's been some reports this evening that it's left him on the back foot, to say the least. But I do have some thoughts and I wanted to share them with you. And I guess the first thing to say is that it's really bloody frustrating that this has been announced at exactly this moment. The left have had years to get a grip and form a new party. And at any point between 2019 and, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, a new left party would have had my unwavering support. It was very much needed. And I think it was particularly needed during the time that Starmer was campaigning for office. That needed to be challenged. And I think had a new party of the left been formed earlier, it would have been in a really strong position right now to be making a very clear case for an alternative, given that the Starmer project has disappointed very many people and people are looking for an alternative. And that's the reason, of course, why Reform are doing well. However, this new left project comes at a very difficult time for the left. Because there wasn't a left vehicle available, lots of people on the left migrated to the Green Party and started to build an alternative through groups like Greens Organise. And Zach Polansky, as a result, is standing for the leadership of the Green Party. Zach Polansky is a socialist, and he's seeking to use the Green Party as a vehicle for left politics. And were this new party of the left not to have emerged, Zach Polansky would have my unwavering support. But the emergence of a new left party really complicates things. Because here's what I think happens, right? So let's make a few assumptions. So let's assume that Jeremy Corbyn will get on board and that this new party will formed. Let's just call it the Left Party for the sake of argument. I think that given the name recognition of Corbyn and the popularity of someone like Zaram Sultana and the fact that they bring together two distinct traditions, Corbyn sort of straddles the old left and the new left, but he's particularly strong on the old left, and Zaram Sultana is a younger member of parliament who can bring on board elements of the new left, so they're quite a good coalition to be leading this party. And of course, Zaram Sultana as a young woman of colour, well, that's very helpful as well to reach out to a fairly broad group on the left. So I think they're going to just sail ahead in the polls pretty quickly. Not sail ahead of nationally, but sail ahead of the Green Party, right? They're going to be much stronger in the polls, and they will also have a ground game very quickly as well. Jeremy Corbyn, with his Peace and Justice project, has been preparing the ground for this for a long time. And there are lots of disparate networks of left-wing people organised via various channels, usually on WhatsApp, that will coalesce around this party. But unfortunately, there will be division because lots of people have spent a lot of time and effort trying to build an alternative elsewhere, particularly in the Green Party, but also various other places. And that's going to be a problem because there are going to be seats in the next election where the Green Party have built a very strong campaign, where they put in place a very strong candidate. The seat that I'm sitting in, actually, Brighton, Kemp Town and Peacehaven, is one of them, where the Green Party have a really good chance of winning this seat at the next election, all things being equal, and where one could imagine that if a left candidate stands, it will split the vote, and that could allow any number of possibilities to happen. But I think the most likely in this seat is that Labour would keep hold of the seat. And so then you think, well, okay, if this new left party is to form, could there be some sort of pact between the parties? Now, that in itself is a problem because the Green Party is a super democratic party, and I imagine the left, this new left party would be similar. And so it's not like the Conservative Party where you could just form a pact and impose it from the centre upon activists. there will be lots of centres of power within, well, there are lots of centres of power within the Green Party, and there will be in this new left party, and it might be that local parties don't want the centre to stop them from running. After all, they will have put a lot of time and effort into building campaigns within constituencies to try and win seats. So in short, it's a bit of a mess, and that leaves me in quite a tricky position with trying to give some analysis and trying to give a sense of direction. But I think I would say this about my position. Personally, I don't care about political parties. I've always found party politics to be odd. In other words, I think what matters in politics is the ideas, the policies, and the strategy for winning rather than any particular party. So this is one of the reasons why I can't stand the Labour right, because at times they seem to prioritise winning control and keeping control of the Labour Party over anything else. And I find that a very odd position, because the party itself doesn't matter. The party is a vehicle for making change happen, right? And so I feel the same about the Green Party. I feel the same about this new left party. So what I'm about to say is, even though I'm a member of the Green Party presently, I wouldn't care if both of these new parties burned to the ground, if that would result in what I want to happen, which is that a left government would form. And I think that should be the position of everybody, really. But in reality, that isn't everyone's position, right? And that's because people have put a lot of time and effort into local politics, into party politics, and they do feel wedded to these vehicles. So what needs to happen is that, if this new left party is going to form, there needs to be cooperation, at least with the Green Party. And internally within the Green Party, there needs to be a movement to use whatever democratic channels are available to make it the Green Party's policy to do a pact with this new left party, so that the Green Party will stand where they are strong and the new left party will stand where they are strong, and there is an electoral pact of some sort. Now, if this doesn't happen, and I think that's really likely, because the reality is that parties just find it very difficult to make these compromises, because standing down in a seat means that you're telling your activists on the ground to do nothing or to back another party. You're giving up whatever momentum you've formed. You're giving up on trying to build power locally. It's a really big sacrifice for parties to make. So I do think that a pact between a new left party and the Green Party is difficult, not least because of the fact that both of these parties are going to be highly democratic and with very strong local power. Activists simply will not want to stand down. So if we assume that the pact doesn't happen, where would my allegiance lie? Well, it's a difficult question. However, I've got a clear answer. It would lie with the new party of the left. And that is because of several things, really. First of all, I think in the circumstance where the left can't get their act together, it is highly likely that we're going to end up with either a reform government or Labour clinging to power, and therefore we're either going to get a very right-wing government under reform, or the continuation of a kind of Tory-like government under Starmer, in which case I think both of those projects ultimately are going to disappoint. And the reason they're going to disappoint is because both of those projects don't deal with the fundamental problem in our society, which is inequality. And that's going to lead to more anger and disenchantment. And that will create space, in my view, for a party that's rooted in genuine class politics to make inroads further down the line. And I guess, look, the reason I don't think the Greens are the party to do that is because, to be really blunt, they've had decades to do it and they haven't. And yes, Zach Polanski is an inspiring person and he's who I back for the leadership and I really want him to succeed. The Green Party have had a very long time to build this alternative and it isn't here yet. and they did very well at the last election. They won 4 seats. They're likely to do better at the next election, but it's piddling progress compared to what is needed, and compared to other moments, and there's only one really, the Labour Party taking off from the Liberals, where a new party emerged. So I'm quite pessimistic about the Green Party as that alternative, and I also think that the Green Party is rooted in a different type of politics, fundamentally, green politics, which is much broader, and that might be an advantage in some ways. But fundamentally, it's not rooted in class politics, it's rooted in green politics, and I don't think that provides, personally, I don't think that provides the intellectual resources to really get at the heart of the issues facing our society, and so that leads me in a different direction. Although full solidarity with all of those who are trying to turn the Green Party into a project to challenge the right. Despite all of what I've said, I'm committed to, as I said, the left coming together. And look, if I'm in a seat, and I'm pretty sure I am in the seat, where the Green Party are more likely to win, I'll be campaigning for the Green Party, and I would encourage other people to do the same. So look, those are my thoughts. I really want a bit of a discourse about this in the comments. I'd like to know what you think, particularly if you're on the left, particularly if you are a Green Party member currently, or if you're thinking about joining a new left party. And look, maybe if you're entirely hostile to the left, you can leave me the usual comments, but it won't be particularly interesting. Please leave a comment and let me know what you think. But anyway, do subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like. Maybe join as a member. Goodbye. Best wishes.